This is why you are not connecting with your kids while you're traveling. I understand this is such a struggle because you put your precious time in getting the time off of work, which is not easy. You booked the trip, you spent all this money, and you are ending up in, this vacation that you had high expectations for, and your kids just want to be on their phone, or if they're a little bit younger and don't have devices yet, that may look like constant meltdowns or complaining, and you're thinking to yourself like, is this even worth it? Is this worth the hassle? I get it. And the thing is there's this concept of traveling is just like parenting in another location, and there's been memes and things floating around the internet, especially on Instagram, for that. And sometimes it does feel like that, but it doesn't have to. You don't have to view it that way. So today I want to share a few mindset shifts and tricks to really view travel in a completely different way, and one that allows you to really connect with your kids, build that foundation for strong bonds in a way that you can't do at home. This is like a special opportunity when you're traveling, especially taking a big trip as a family. You've got that uninterrupted time with your kids, and you want to make the most of that. And so I want to share some tips to help you actually make that happen. So today, I is the fourth day of a 5-day family summer vacation boot camp. My name is Susie Chow. I am a family travel expert, and I specialize in helping families take vacations and trips that strengthen bonds without breaking the budget. And if you missed the previous days, I'll give you a super quick recap. Day one, I covered how to make travel less overwhelming, and a couple tips on how to do that. Day two, which was Monday, I covered how to stop struggling, how to figure out where to go with one simple question that you can ask yourself. Yesterday, I covered 3 travel planning mistakes that you're making and how to fix that to make the whole process less stressful, quicker, and easier. We all want that, right? So you can check out the replays on my feed on Instagram, or just comment replay below and I'll send you a link so you can binge watch those even at like 2x speed. I know Instagram doesn't allow that. So I've got you covered there. And today, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about how you can really connect with your kids and also your partner while you travel, instead of just being stressed out the whole time, thinking about, what's next on your itinerary and all these things that you have to do. So I would love if you're joining me live to comment what's the most stressful thing for you about traveling. So the actual trip itself, maybe it's flights, logistics, or how to handle meltdowns or jet lag, or what is it that just stresses you out the most. I would love to hear, so comment that below. But here's the thing. So regardless of whatever it is that's stressing you out the most in the whole travel process, this is going to hurt, but it's you. You are like the root of the problem. I know you don't want to hear that. The problem isn't your kids. It's how you are viewing the trip, your mood, what you are choosing to focus on. The good news, though, I will sandwich this with some good news. The good news is that can be changed. And so I'm going to share just a little bit about how to do that. And I mean, I think the number one thing is to take a step back, and instead of focusing on, where you're going, what you're doing, and really putting a lot of emphasis on that and like checking things off the box, off of your list, for example, the more important thing is how you are traveling. So remember, you're the leader of the family. And so you set the tone. And, if you're stressed out, the kids are stressed out, more likely to have meltdowns. Like you know that is true, right? I'm not telling you anything that you don't know, but it is really hard to control your emotions, especially when you're in a new place. Everything's unfamiliar. You're trying to figure out, how to order a cup of coffee that you desperately need, for example. And, everything about that can be more stressful. So it's totally natural to, have that affect, how you are acting and what you're focusing on when you're actually on the trip. Um, and the other thing, going back to the leader comment of you being the leader of your family is you set the, as I mentioned, you set the tone, but you also set the example. So if like your kids are on their phones, the whole time, are you also on your phone? Now I'm not proposing like a complete digital detox, although wonderful if you can do that. But again, it's really just around setting those boundaries and also recognizing what you're doing, and the kids are feeding off of that. So that's just something to consider. And one way of being more fully present on your trip, because that's at the root of it, that's what it's all about, is being present. And I know that can be so hard, especially when, your mind's like one foot, in work, because it's so hard to unplug, but you're trying to, be here and be present with your kids and make the most out of this, time, this, special quality time that you don't that you don't have in your normal day-to-day life. So, it's really about shifting what you focus on. And I want to just share a story. So I recently took a trip. I have a 3-year-old. So I went with my family, which is my husband and my 3-year-old, to France. So this was the biggest trip that we have taken as a family. Meaning, I guess, time zone wise, we were very nervous about the jet lag and how that would all impact, our son, how he would handled it like a champ, which is amazing. I'm very happy to report that. We don't give kids enough credit, I think. But that trip was so magical, specifically for me. And I think, we spent some time in Paris, which I was familiar with, and then Normandy, which was a new destination for me. But I was able to see Paris, especially through his eyes. And I just felt like I was so much more present and also patient, patient with him. And, anytime he was getting a little fussy or, maybe on the verge of a meltdown, I was just able to be so empathetic because I mean, we were asking a lot of him. So many changes, and he adapted so well. I'm, really proud of him. But, I think that there was a couple key things that I did that shifted things significantly from, comparing it to last year. We took a 2-week trip, and at the end of that, I was like, I am so excited to drop him off at daycare. I'm fully admitting that, like, it was just a lot. And I mean, yes, he's a year, between 2 and 3 is very big. Lots of massive changes there. But aside from that, it was my mindset. And it was what I was thinking about. And as I said, what I was focusing on, because I was focusing really just on him and just being enamored by what he was experiencing for the first time. And just, my heart was like bursting with joy, just seeing all of these new discoveries and connections he was making. And that made it so much better than any other trip that I've had to Paris. And been fortunate enough to have a lot. So I think that what really made the difference was, what I was focusing on, but also being in a place that gave me joy. Just being back in Europe, that fills my soul. And I think he saw that, and he, saw me loving life. And so that just brings up the whole vibe of the vacation, right? And you can't help but be in good energy if, parents are in good energy, high spirits. Not that you have to be positive and happy the whole time, because things will happen. Travel ultimately will, throw you for a loop here and there, but it's all about how you adapt and move and are flexible with those roadblocks that might happen, for example. So I just wanted to share that. Hopefully, you can relate to that. I would love to hear in the comments, if you've had a similar situation and if this is resonating with you. So, yeah, just comment if this is opening up your eyes to maybe a new way of thinking of family travel. I would love to hear that. And one takeaway at the end of these lives, I like to give you just a prompt to reflect on, maybe journal on. And that's, what is one thing, and you can, of course, write more, but what's one thing that you can do to be more present on your next family trip? Maybe that has to do with your phone, as I mentioned, or just like I was saying, really being present. And I could talk forever about this, which is why I am sharing and starting a new group program to help families, specifically the travel planning parents, that want to make travel planning so much easier, less stressful, and ultimately plan trips that are more meaningful. Because if you're going to be spending thousands of dollars on a trip, you want to have that be something that is really full of memories, not just of what you're doing, but how you're growing and bonding as a family. Like, that is how you make the most out of these trips. And that's the real ROI. So, what I'm talking about today is step 3 of 4 of my soul framework. And that steps you through before, during, and after a trip. So I cover all of that. Step 3 is U of the SOUL acronym, and that stands for unlock. So that's all about, again, making the trip more meaningful, less stressful. And so the doors to my new program, which is called Soul Filling Family Travel, those are open, and there's actually early bird pricing through Thursday. So save $100 by getting in by tomorrow night, because the price jumps on Friday. So this 5-week program is has the goal of you completing getting your next family adventure booked, that strengthens family bonds without breaking the budget. And I'm going to be providing these lessons live for 5 weeks, one per week, and available for questions. So I'm like, a travel advisor in your back pocket to answer all these questions and, little decisions that you have to make along the way. And I am, really excited for this. Comment soul, just the word soul on this if you want to see all of the details for that. And then just to wrap up, tomorrow is the last day of the boot camp and the giveaway that I am doing. So tomorrow I'm going to cover how do you hang on to those vacation vibes and stay connected with your family after you return home. So again, going through the process, we're talking about what do you do after. And this is something that so many people miss, this step. They overlook it. They just jump right back into normal life. That was a great trip, the end. But there's so much more you can do to, really take what you are experiencing and elevate your life and your family's, connections. So I'm going to share that tomorrow. I would love it if you share this post with a friend, either tag them or post it in your stories, and be sure to tag me, because that's going to give you some points towards the giveaway. Lots of amazing prizes. First prize is a $100 Visa gift card. So I will be posting all the details on how you can earn points in the comments or in my captions. So stay tuned for that. DM me if you have any questions about anything that I covered, the program, the boot camp. I am here for you, and I'm so excited that you joined me today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.